Mr. Bill, and everyone else in adult class. Let's get bowed in first thing. Yep. And please teach me. And to each other, please teach me. All right, so I've been on this run of trying to pick your brain and get you to think. And today is going to be no different, of course. I'm not going to tax your body as much as I'm going to tax your brain, and we'll just say not the muscles, but the lungs. So we're going to be focusing on breathing today. Something that we always do. We don't really think about it. It just happens naturally. And some people, let's face it, breathe better than others. Some people have a great breathing type of regimen, and other people, end up getting short of breath quickly because of lack of efficiency. So we're going to be focusing on that. And so when we do our warm-up, I really would like to see that you're breathing. So let's start off with that. All right, first things first, got our guards all the way up, 20 count, jog in place. I want to focus on making the puffer get that oxygen. All right, 20 count, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Go back all the way up, all the way down. Breathe. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Very good. Then in reach. Touch those toes. Focus on the breath. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Very good. Windmill cross touch. Start with this side over here. 20 count. Breathe and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's it. 5, 6, good. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Excellent. All right, couple deep breaths in. All right, hands on the hips, keeping your feet nice and posted. Twist and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side, turn and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And other side, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last one, let me hurt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Up your tippy toes, reach for the sky, up, and let's go to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax, breathe. And stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And down. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bend back, stick your hands and hips, chin down. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And up and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time up. Let me hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Clap your hands up from the forehead. Push. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sounds very good. I'll go back. Close that head and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looking good on this side. Other hand right on the hip. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And last one on the push and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, chin to that mirror side shoulder or whatever shoulder that you have right now. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And switch sides. Let me hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 to go. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last one, stretch and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, take a deep breath. And hold it. And breathe it out. Tighten those guts all the way to the very, very, very bottom. Good. All right, 2 more. Breathe in. Hold it. And breathe it out. All the way down. Tight, 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 tight. And last one, breathe it in. And breathe it out. Excellent. And have a seat.
See, sir.
Okay. All right, now we're going to jump right into our stretches. The counting backwards from 10 and the I promise create. Actually, let's talk about that just for a second. When we say our 10, we're looking for a big belly breath, and we're looking to fire. So we're not just trying to say 10 from a shallow breath. So think of it like you're taking that breath in and you're going to bring it down towards your diaphragm. So it's like all my parents out there. You guys all have kids, and no doubt that you've had to give them the dad or the mom kind of bark like, "Hey, how you doing?" So that required some kind of like in-breath in order for that to happen. So think about those in-breaths, throughout the class today. So like when we say 10, I do want to hear that there's an in-breath before you say it. So let's do 1, 10, kind of action 10. Breathe in before you do it. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and take a deep breath. Okay, now with this creed, all right, let's say we were breathing ineffectively. Let's make it hard. Let's make the creed breaths, where you have to do a run-on sentence for the first part and a run-on sentence for the second part without taking any breaths in between. Just one breath. What would it sound like?
Like you're rapping.
All right, so let's just say the first part. One breath, take a deep breath in. I promise to build true self-confidence by taking full responsibility for the development of my mind, body, and spirit. Okay, second part. I promise to set a goal and high standards for each of the 3 tiers of life. All right, last one. Here goes. Ready? I promise to avoid when possible. Just check if I cannot avoid a lesson. If I cannot avoid a check. Remember, it's not who's right, but it's what I say. All right, now what if I said to you, do the whole creed with one breath? Okay, well, you're super Johnny, like amazing Joanna. All right, you're super Joanna. There's no Johnny about you. It's super Joanna.
You told me to do it, sir. I'm following orders.
But my point is this, is that when you're talking, your breath happens naturally. So I want you to think to yourself that when you're breathing, are you breathing correctly? If you weren't breathing, you'd have problems. But when you're speaking, your in-breath and out-breath should happen without thought. And that's one of the things I want you to start thinking about is when would I breathe in and when would I breathe out based upon technique. All right, so rock the soul, focus on your breathing, 30 seconds, eyes closed. So get nice and straight, focusing on deep belly breaths. When you were a baby, your belly moved, your shoulders didn't shrug each time you took an in-breath. 20 more seconds. So when you breathe in, you shouldn't find your shoulders coming up to your ears. 10. And Makasoi, eyes open. Very good. All right, put your forwards on that. This side. All right, guards all the way up. We're only going to do one. So what I want you to do is you're going to put your hands down, and you're going to focus on breathing out as you stretch. So like right now, I'm not at the furthest extent of my stretch, but as I want to get further, I'll in breath, and I'll breathe out as I go further down. And I want to do that 3 times. So in breath. In breath. One more. In breath. And switch sides. Okay. So breathing out all the way down. And 3 in breaths. Out breath is the stretch. You should find yourself getting a little bit further down on each out breath. And I should be able to hear it. Very good. You have for moments?
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, when you're breathing out, the goal is to relax the muscles. So your muscles get really, really tense. So if you find yourself saying, all right, this is as far as I can get, then try to realize that, can you go like an extra millimeter further after each breath? Very good. And now when you're practicing this at home, part of this is that, your goal is to get further stretch. So every single time that you're getting that stretch, that first distance that you can reach your toes might be the furthest that you did previously. Now, this is what I mean by that. All right, let's put a bed in.
Sir.
Okay. And you say, for now, I can touch this line. Okay. And, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And I did my 3 breaths. Okay, and I'm all the way out here. All right, so let me take a deep breath. Let me see if my next stretch can go a little bit further. So I say, all right, I'm a little bit past the line. And I get my 3 breaths in, nice and deep, and breathe out. Reach it. Reach it. Reach it. All right, now, this is my new beginning. So then my goal is, back up to my guards. Can I get my hands out to that new spot? And then can I go 3 steps further? And the answer is you can. It's a mental thing. So every single time that you're practicing your stretches, I should actually hear you breathe as much as you're, getting that extra added amount of reach. All right, let's stand up. Okay. All right, shake your leg, and shake your leg, and shake your leg. Okay. All right. So since we're focusing on breathing, we're going to be focusing on our form, and we're going to be focusing on some centering. All right. So we're going to use this square just for a second, or our plus sign. So I'll put you in the center there.
Hey.
All right. This is just for reference. You don't necessarily need to use this at home, but we're going to consider as an in-breath and out-breath as a centering technique. Like for instance, if you have too much out-breath or too much in-breath, you might catch yourself finding yourself a little faint. So hyperventilation, for example. All right, this carbon dioxide, I'm getting rid of too much of it, and I'm going to end up losing my consciousness as a result of it, versus not getting enough oxygen, hypoxia, where I start getting some other issues with that. All right, so we're going to use this center as a beacon, as a reference point. So let's sway ourselves to this side all the way over here, and then back to center, and then back to the other side, back to center. Okay, so now you don't have to, at full extent, recognize when you're in and when you breathe. Go side and take a deep breath in. Hold it. Now move to the other side and deep breath out. And another side in. And another side out. 2 more. Out. All right, I'm going to change that. All right. Now, in breath time we pick up our foot, and out breath every single time we put it down. Here's an example of that. Okay, so as I'm placing weight on my feet, I'm going to breathe out. As I take weight off, I'm going to breathe in. I'm consciously deciding when to breathe versus saying I breathe when I normally breathe. That's the way it goes. Okay. All right. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to, not sidestep back and forth. We're simply just going to breathe in as we take weight off. There's your in. And we're going to breathe out as we place weight. And then in as we take weight off. And then out as we place weight. Everyone understand that at home? Okay, so you're good. I'm going to start with this side leg. The goal is to take as much time breathing in as it takes for you to take the foot off the ground. By the time you take the foot off the ground, you should be done your in-breath. So that doesn't mean go, okay, then pick up your foot, off time. And don't pick up your foot and then decide to breathe in. So again, when you're breathing in, it should be audible. The person in the room should be able to hear it. So don't just simply make it like, okay, I'm done breathing. Can you hear it? No, you can't. That's not enough. All right, ready? Starting with this side. And you're good. You're holding it. Now put the foot down. Other side. In. And you're good. And you're holding it. And you're placing it down. Easy stuff, right? Okay, 2 more. Right. In. Slow. And she's got the balance. She places it down. And then the in. And then the out. Okay. All right. So that's focusing on the feet. Now let's put ourselves into some of our upper body stretches. Let's get our heart pumping a little bit. All right. So I'm going to put you up in the front, Mr. Joanna.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm going to run through these blocks, 3 up, 3 back. Mr. Bill or Mr. Traps or whoever else is taking class. Keep up with the pace. There's a reason why we're doing this, right? Yep. Everybody position.
Good.
Walk with the high locks forward and backwards. Count. Ready? 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Yeah.
Backwards. 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Yeah.
All right, middle blocks. Ready? 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Backwards. 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Down blocks. Ready? 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Backwards. 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
All right, so I think we're on forearm blocks. Let's put some forearm blocks out there. Ready? 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Backwards. 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Ready? 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
3.
Good.
Backwards. 1,
1, sir.
2,
2, sir.
and 3.
Good.
Okay, good job. Good. Keeping up pretty good this reading? Excellent. Okay. So no doubt, I mean, we did a tremendous amount of blocks, but you might find yourself winded. Like, okay, all right, I got my heart pumping a little bit. All right, so your body needs more oxygen. So then let's put some more thought into each of these strikes. So let's start with our first high block. Now, this is important. If you do this, if you do it wrong, you got the possibility of having a deficiency. If you breathe in too much, we talked about that. If you breathe out too much, all of a sudden have in balance. Okay, so let's consider every single time we chamber, we're gonna have ourselves an in-breath. So, all right, can do. All right, so 3 up and 3 back.
That's it.
So I want to hear it on the in-breath. I want to hear it on the out-breath. We're gonna go a little slower. Ready? 1.
1, 2.
Oh, come on, like that's a big birthday candle. Come on, you're gonna blow out that birthday candle. 2.
2, 2.
I heard 2, so I didn't hear. All right, forget. Ready? 3. Good. Okay, good. Again, needs to match. The breath needs to match up to 4. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Backwards. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. All right, so at home, as you're practicing this, this is one of those things that once you learn how to do it and it becomes infectious, then you got to do it with everything. So when you don't do it, you feel kind of awkward. It's like, I feel like I have to breathe. When you do your post-op form, you have to breathe. It's kind of like programmed in. When Mr. Ben does his long yang, you have to breathe. It's designed into what you do. And every now and then you forget to breathe because you're so focused on something else. All right, so now let's change the drill to kicks. All right, so before we do kicks, let's focus on what we just did back here when we did our little footwork drill that we picked up the foot. So when we pick up our foot, what did we do? We had an in-breath. This is a very Tai Chi concept, is that you might think to yourself, well, you know, ready? Sorry if I'm moving your face or anything like that, okay? I'm gonna breathe in when I do this. So I'm gonna go. I breathe out on the step, okay? All right, so in on the chamber and the kick, out on the landing, okay? All right, snap kicks, walking style, we'll do 5. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Back. I did kicks earlier. I'll make the kick just take a little bit more time. So okay, this is one little snippet. There's things where we breathe naturally, and you don't really pay attention to this thing right here, the very center. Tell me when the last time that you thought about when the in-breath changes to the out-breath. You typically don't. Your body just naturally takes care of it. There's no extra thought involved. It's natural. And so now we're purposely making a thought. Like, when do I not breathe? Is there a moment where I don't breathe? For just a second, you're not going to breathe on this. So you're not going to breathe the entire length of the kick. You'll have a hole at a certain point. Okay, 5 snap kicks, slow. All right, ready? Breathe in, hold, hold, out. All right, 3 more. In, hold, out. 2 more. Slow. Good, last one. Go nice and slow. Very good. Okay, how we do, Mr. Rainey? Excellent, very good. You're so not really faint or anything like that. Not gonna like, give me a second, I gotta sit down. Again, when we practice some of these drills that we're gonna do, you'll be surprised about how unnatural this will feel. And then again, let's go back to when you were a baby, your belly moved, and there was no worries about stress and taxes and all this stuff, whatever we call it. And so since there wasn't that stress, your body naturally breathes. And when you learn how stress enters your life, all of a sudden you make different habits, and those habits end up becoming like ingrained. And you gotta be like, wow, I didn't even realize I do that. Okay. All right. So now let's change the gears up to basic form. Okay. So we'll put you on the double reds.
Sir.
All right. So we focused on picking up our feet. We focused on the chamber. Every chamber has herself an in-breath. Every expression has, every landing has an out-breath. Fine at the end. If you don't do this right, you're going to feel lightheaded. And that's something just to be conscious of. So if you feel at any point in time during this form that you need to sit down, then that's what you do. No falling down, no bumping heads, right? All right, so here goes. Yep. Chumbi. In and out. Okay, we're going to go slow. Ready? Chumbi from the middle. Ready? In and out. Up. In and out. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. In and out. Breathe in, nice and loud. In and out. In and out. Okay, every chamber, here comes. Ready? In and out. In and out. And good. All the way around. In and out. There's in and out. You're probably tired of hearing me say in and out. At this point, I'm just going to let you focus. Take your time. And Chumbi. How did we fare, Mr. Bill? Thumbs up? Give yourself a hand. All right. So one of the questions that usually gets asked is, what if there's more than one move? Okay. Let's fast forward a couple reps here into take it 4. All right. I know you don't take it 4 yet. Let's face this way. Just give me a small form chop. Okay. So in this move right here, there's a snap, punch, side, chop, kia. So I want you. Can you do that?
Sorry.
Okay. Listen to the in-breath and out-breath. We're not doing it. We're not combining breaths.
Am I doing it wrong or
yes.
am I doing it right?
Doing it wrong. All right. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
All right. Slide it back. She can't do it. She can't do it wrong. Someone trained you right. Okay. So there's so many moves in this particular set, and Noah knows this form really well. That you got the in-breath with the snap. Ready? Breathe in. Whoa, wait a second. That's a separate breath. You did a separate move. Let's do this right. I'm proving a point here. So in breath, out breath. Out breath. Ready? In breath. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole lot of in-breath. It's like it actually stresses your lungs out, doesn't it? Okay, if I said to you punch 10 times. Okay, so in this case, the high block and punch. We'll use that as our example. All right, so we're in the middle block. We'll give Mr. Bill and anybody that watches this an example about how we can stretch things. So we're going to consider that this chamber for the middle block, or excuse me, the chamber for the high block, has the in-breath. And then she's got enough oxygen in her to be able to throw the high block and punch and say, you know what, I'm just going to put, one breath, 2 moves. All right, ready? Okay, we're set. Back to the middle block. Okay, now make it separate. And just tell me how it feels. Ready? There's this huge disconnect. All of a sudden, this move kind of loses its attitude. All right, it just doesn't feel right. You wouldn't breathe like that naturally. Okay, so we're going to do just a real quick drill. We'll face towards the camera here. We're going to do some punches. So the goal is 1 punch, 1 breath. So at that pace, it's okay. Right? Okay. Let's get 3 punches, a little faster. 1 breath, 1 punch, but keep up the pace. Like that. Okay, it's gonna feel good. Ready? Go. All right. Now let's get 1 breath, 2 punches. 2 breaths. 1 in, 2 out. Okay, ready? Go. Go. All right. 1 in, 1 out. 2 punches. So, all right. 2 punches on the out breath, not 2 breaths on the out. Ready? Go. Okay, again, you're just playing with what can I get away with? Here it goes. 3 punches. How many breaths do you
One.
have? All right, here goes. 3 punches, 1 breath. 1 in breath, 1 out breath. You better be punching fast. Ready? Go. Whoa. 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 All right. You want 4? I'll let her try it out. 4 punches, 1 out breath. All right. Are her lips blue yet? She's not hypoxic yet. All right. All right. Here goes. Ready? Go. Do it again. All right. Doesn't that feel like it's 5 seconds? Every single time you take an in breath, imagine this. You're bringing in stuff. This is called stuff. All right. And your body's going to do stuff with the stuff. So it's got to send oxygen to your brain. It's got to send blood to your heart. It's got to get blood down to the legs. And no, your oxygen doesn't go down to your toes. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to end up getting down to your toes. So let's just call it energy is going to a bunch of different parts of your body. And then you breathe out. So the goal of this is to say, you know what, did I get enough ins for my body to be able to produce the power? Or did I end up running out of gas? Every in-breath is a little bit of gas. Every strike, I'm using the gas. And I got to say, well, you know what, did I get enough to be able to supply? Okay, so now, let's get some gears just one more time. All right, I'm going to face you towards the front. All right, now we're going to do some take 1. All right. The intensity of the move has to match the intensity of the breath. I'm going to repeat that. The intensity of the move has to match the intensity of the breath. That means if you have a really intense move, the breath better supply that. Again, you don't want an imbalance. Plus, you want the move to be intense. The breath is going to help it. The slowness of the move needs to match the slowness of the breath. And the speed of the move, if it's fast, fast move, fast breath, slow move, slow breath. Okay? All right, so can you give me a take of 1 with intense strikes? Okay? Then put in like on the long down blocks and punches, Mr. Bill, you're going to perform with us. On the long down block punches, slow. Okay? Fast on those down blocks, faster than those punches. Then just give me a couple slows in there. And the goal is just keep up with the intensity that she's got. Okay? I'll tell you when to do slow so that he's going to know when to go slow. Okay. Yep. Fast. Jimmy. All right. Intense, fast, quick. All right. Down blocks. Quick. Hey. Boom. All right. Quick. Hey. Boom. All right. Make sure the breath is matching. Hey. Boom. All right. Hey. Boom. All right. Here it goes. Slow. Breathe in. Breathe out. 1 breath in. 2 moves out. Ready? Hey. Back to intense. Hey. Boom. Good. Step your punch. Hey. Boom. All right. Fast. Hey. Fast. Good. Fast. Hey. Boom. All right. Slow. Ready? Hey. Good. Okay. Here's the high block. Now, I'm going to bring you around here, Mr. Bill. I know I'm talking to Mr. Ben, but I'm talking to Mr. Bill through the camera. All right. So now, this is a longer move that you could say. We have a longer move at the end of this big down block. This longer move needs a longer breath. So can you draw it out? All right, go slow. Right. Slow. Okay, snap and punch. In. Okay, now let's do something fun with this other side. Slow. And then fast at the very end. Make it exciting. Okay, all right, ready? Go. Oh. That's like the birthday candle that didn't go out. All right. All right, give me a snap, kick, and punch. All right. Hey. That's okay. You got excited. That's all right. All right, here goes. Big circle down block. So, chamber in, all the way out. Ready? Hey. Step through intense. Hey. Yeah! And to me. And that's all she wrote. Give her a hand. Nice job. Well done, sir. Okay. How do you feel? Thumbs up. All right. We got some life still left in, Mr. Bill. Excellent. Okay. All right. So far, we've been focusing on in-breath and out-breath. There's times that we're holding breath, and there's times where it's going to be fast and intense, and soft and slow and gentle. The goal is for you to be able to be conscious of it at all times. So don't let yourself just simply go on and all of a sudden, I find myself, I forgot to breathe. I do that a lot on my kicks. I need to breathe better on my kicks. I don't know, is there any move that you find that you don't breathe on? I just need to breathe. All right, Mr. Ben, any moves that you find that you don't breathe very well on? Okay. Mr. Ben, I'm sure there's some moves. So it's the moves that you're really like focusing on. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I forgot to do this. But that's why we do drills like this to say, oh, by the way, every single move needs that breath. All right, so now we're going to do a real quick drill. And then we're going to get back to our fast-paced workout here. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for a specified amount of time. And we're going to hold it for a specified amount of time. And we're going to breathe out for a specified amount of time. And then we're going to hold that. And we're going to do it really easy. We're going to do it for, I think, 5 seconds is appropriate. So breathing in for 5 seconds. Now that means all of the air that you needed gets pulled in those 5 seconds. Not, okay, I'm there. It's got to take 5 seconds in its entirety, and that's all the air that you get. And then you're going to hold it for those 5 seconds, and you're just going to watch my hands, and I'll count down, and then I'll tell you to breathe out for those 5 seconds, and so on. So we're going to do it together. And so at home, just get a couple breaths. Make sure you're not just going to end up passing out again. All right, so we're going to focus on this in breath. Ready? We're going to breathe in, and hold it. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Now breathe out. Slow. Out. 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 Hold your breath. 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 Here goes. In. Last one. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Good. Out. 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 And relax. Okay. So far? Still conscious? Okay, good. All right. So that feels weird when you're trying to be able to kind of say like, well, I got to hold my breath. It's like in a burning building. Mr. Andy always gives us this example. In a burning building, you don't want to end up getting yourself smoke inhalation. You're going to fry your lungs. Okay. That's usually what ends up getting people. It's not the burn necessarily. It's the burns on the inside. And that smoke has chemicals and basically it's going to end up getting you from the inside. So you hold your breath. Well, what if that was the last breath that you got and you got to hold it and you got to hold it? But wait a second, I got to hold it another second. Is it possible that when you think that you can't hold it anymore, that you have at least one more second of hold in you? Same thing for underwater. You take a deep breath in and you're underwater. The cool part about it is you go into a pool, you can always come back out of the pool and say, but what if you couldn't? Could you hold it for an extra second? And then for an extra second? And then one extra second? And the answer is, you don't know, because unless you've been in a situation where I was restricted from breathing, that I have that extra second still left in me. So when you do a drill like this, you're stretching your lungs and saying to yourself, you can always make the timing longer. You can always say, I'm going to do it for 6 seconds. I'm going to do it for 10 seconds. 10 second in breath, 10 second hold, 10 second out breath, 10 second hold. And then all of a sudden it starts getting more difficult, more difficult. Okay, we're going to go into basic form again and take it one more time. And we're going to change things up a little bit. So the goal is to keep up with the pace, and the breathing needs to match the pace. So I'm going to count the form out. And what I want to see is that your breathing is going to match how fast I'm counting, because you're going to get lost if you're focusing on doing moves slow. Are you ready? In breaths and out breaths appropriate. All right, yep. All right, 2 beats. All right, here goes. Pay attention. Ready? Basic form. In and out. In. Breathe in. And Chumbi, what do you think I was listening for? Your in breath, because everyone forgets that part. They breathe out, and then all of a sudden they catch themselves oxygen deficient because you're tired. Your muscles got tired. All right, take it one. Okay, you need that in breath. Get it when you can. Just pay attention to what you're doing. All right, take it one, same kind of pace. Take it one at home. All right, Chumbi. Here it goes. And Chumbi. ninja breaths. They were like so sneaky that you didn't even know they were there. Okay. All right. They weren't even there.
They weren't there.
They weren't there. Okay. So what does that tell you? In all honesty, what does that tell you?
And
Was it too fast?
no,
What-
I need to breathe. I need to breathe in. I can breathe out all I want, but breathing in is the hardest part for me.
Okay.
With all of my forms, it's all of them.
If you really focus on your chambers, this is kind of like a little side note when we're focusing on having good chambers for hand kicks and stuff like that. I'm telling you, that's the perfect opportunity to focus on breathing. When we're doing the kick drill, focus on your breathing because they go hand in hand. Okay. Now I'm going to throw one last little thing here. Again, you nod your head or thumbs up, or you can express yourself. There's no doubt in my mind. Again, just Mr. Bill here, correct? Okay. That you know your form, you know your combinations, you know your upper body strikes, your lower body strikes. If I said, show me a side kick, show me an in to out kick, let me hear your creed. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to demonstrate all of that. Is that a thumbs up from Mr. Bill? Okay. So it's something I want you to think about is I would like to be able to advance you, to be able to get you to this next step. And I know we're in this kind of this conundrum, this puzzle. But I don't want that to stop us from being able to continue to educate you. So I just want you to put that in the back of your brain as to how comfortable you would feel be able to go on to the next step, even though you don't have a physical representation of your rank, for you to be able to say, you know what, I am a yellow belt, and I am ready to move on to this next step because I need to feed your brain, just like I'm trying to feed your lungs. Your body needs oxygen, and your brain needs food. And I'm trying to supply you this food, but it reaches a point where you need to keep moving forward. That's why sometimes you've heard of other styles where there's a white belt and then you get black. And there's a big gap in between. It's very difficult, especially when it's like, all right, you got this technique. Once you get black, it's a different story. I'm working on the same moves that Miss Joanna's working on. I'm working on the same moves that the first degree black belt that joins black belt class. But after you do it for a while, then the new moves that you're learning go well beyond learning a new technique. But right now for you, I need to keep feeding you. Okay, is there a nod or a thumbs up? You agree with that? Okay, so let me toy around with that idea. For the high ranks, it's a little bit different story. I know your boy is waiting for that advanced test, and Mr. Randy and Miss Ann and I are definitely, we've got that on our minds, as well as Mr. Ben and Miss Joanna, to be able to make this happen. But we need to wrap our brains around things that how we're going to represent the skill necessary, especially with that break and that spotlight, and how we're going to make that all work. So, it would all be nice if all this would go away like yesterday. That's not going to happen right now. But we need to keep our minds open. So I just want to make sure that you are able to think about that. Anything else to add to that?
Keep on chugging.
Keep chugging. So every adult class, I've been trying to feed you, and Mr. Travis, who may not be in this class, but certainly I know that you're going to be watching this. You've been taking adult class separately. So I definitely think that if you think about that as well, that it is food for thought. All right, so the last thing in terms of homework is for you to be able to demonstrate a form that I can audibly hear your in-breath. And I know we were just talking about times we don't focus on breathing in. I want to hear the in-breath on every move. The challenge is not simply just the in-breath and out-breath, but I want you to create a form of basic or Take One that involves creative movement of breath and body. So an example would be like, I'm going to do the first couple moves of Take One. So all right, so I'm just throwing some ideas out there, like fast and slows, but power and softness. So you don't have to hit hard all the time. As a matter of fact, some of the slow movements, that's like there's You can see like there's something bubbling under the surface. It's like the alligator doesn't have to jump out of the water and say, hey man, I'm just gonna snap you. I'm gonna get you. You just kind of feel like, oh man, there's something there. So when you practice your form, don't think slow or fast. Think slow, fast, hard, soft, power, lightness, quickness, however you want to word it. But I'd like to see that, a demonstration of form involving that breath. And of course, throughout the week, practice your in breath when you're stressed out, when you're worried about something, when you are ready to just kind of throw your hands up. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds hold, 5 seconds out, 5 seconds hold, and work your way up. And who knows, you might find yourself getting into those higher numbers and saying, wow, I didn't realize I had that much oxygen capacity that you could do that. There's a lot to be said about control of the breath because you can control your heart rate. So just think to yourself about what you're doing on the inside. All right, well done. I look forward to seeing your submission. Can't wait to see you guys back in class. Let's good strong bow out, hands behind the back. Ready, jump. Thank you for teaching me. And you're dismissed. You may escape.